How we do this, we are the truest. Got these fangs super sharp, your shit toothless. Cold-hearted, yeah we ruthless. All the ghouls in the cut, let's get ghoulish. In the graveyard, acting foolish. Finna dance with the devil to no music. Cold-hearted, yeah we ruthless. All the ghouls in the cut, let's get ghoulish.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Ghoulish podcast. I am Max Booth, an undead host, and I recognize the audio in this intro might be a little glitchy. I am just now discovering my mic is potentially busted, and I can't seem to fix it, so I'm probably going to have to buy a new mic. But in the meantime, here's an episode I recorded back in Milch with my friend Andrew Hilbert, talking about spooky Sonic the Hedgehog. We're promoting books that are already out and have been out quite a bit. We're talking about his new novel, XCRMNTMNTN, which came out at the beginning of 2023 through my small press, Ghoulish Books. Go pick it up at Ghoulish, www.ghoulish.lip. That's ghoulish.rip, folks. That's right, it's a website. Look it up. Type into your browser www.ghoulish.lip. It's the brand new Ghoulish website. Lots of fun stuff is going on. Also, once again, this episode, it's pretty old. It took me a long time to put it out because I am sometimes inconsistent. And I will not apologize for that, but I am hoping going forward to be more consistent with the episode uploading of the Ghoulish podcast, beginning now with the Sonic the Hedgehog episode. But just a little disclaimer, we talk about some things at the end of this episode that are pretty outdated, such as the fact that he is supposedly working on a chapbook called DREAMCAST 2. Well, guess what? He finished that already, and it's out now. Go to his website, 5gkilledgod.com. Buy a copy. It's hilarious. One of the best chapbooks I've ever read. Also, he mentions that he's going to be officiating my wedding at an upcoming book fest. Well, that also happened. I am now a married ghoul. I have a ring on my finger to prove it. And he is the one who said, "You will now husband." And he said to my wife, "You will now a wife." That was the thing he did, dressed as a cowboy Dracula. It was a fun time. People, they had cake. We had cake, so it wasn't that bad. That's all I have to say, because I know this audio is glitching and it's really annoying. But thankfully, the main episode sounds pretty okay. So I have with me today on the podcast the most knowledgeable Sonic expert anyone will ever see, Andrew Sonic the Hedgehog Hilbert. Welcome to the podcast.
Why, thank you.
You've been on in the past, but you've never talked about Sonic, and I find that odd since you're basically known as the expert.
I know. It's one of those things where I've learned to really embrace in my older age.
You and I are friends. We have other friends, and I would say maybe a year and a half ago, you began just randomly posting drawings of Sonic in various chats without any context. And over time, this drawing of Sonic has evolved into the Sonic we all know and love. Can you kind of give some context for the listeners and also myself, because I've never asked you, like, why did these Sonic drawings begin happening? What was the reasoning behind all of this?
Well, I think when the movie got announced, I had a sexual awakening. The first thing about Sonic is his legs. When they showed his legs, they were very muscular and very, very like tantalizing to watch, to look at. Very human-like. And they showed the Sonic face, and it was like this uncanny valley kind of thing, and it looked like beautiful, right? And I was like, man, I hope they keep that design. But the entire internet just clowned the design. Like it was this terrible, terrible thing. And I thought it was a great design because it was just so off-putting.
They hated the teeth, right? Something with the teeth.
The teeth, everything about it was kind of off. It wasn't. It was Sonic, but it was like a sexualized Sonic, like a Sonic who has sex.
Yeah, a Sonic who fucks.
Yeah, Sonic who fucks. There was a dimension that was never really explored in the games because the games are for children.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, here's a good opportunity for them to make Sonic, to make Sonic what Sonic's original intent was, which was Mario with a boner. And I think that is really it's really what started me to be obsessed with drawing Sonic. But I've always loved Sonic, always.
Mm-hmm.
I never had a Sega Genesis, but my cousins did. And when I went to their house, I'd play Sonic 1, and he wasn't even that fast, but he was like Mario with attitude. Sega does what Nintendo don't, was the whole thing.
I had a question that I didn't know I had until right before we began doing this. It's something I haven't thought about. What happened to Sega? Did they get bought out by Nintendo? What's going on with Sega?
No. So Dreamcast was basically the first of the next generation of systems after the PlayStation and the Nintendo 64. The problem is Dreamcast came out a year too early, basically, in the United States. It came out on 9/9/99. And it was really great. It was great. If you love the Japanese arcade aesthetic, Sega Dreamcast was the system for you. So it was kind of built for a person like me.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember playing it at Best Buy with Sonic Adventure and thinking, whoa, this is fucking 4D. The graphics were great at the time.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when the PlayStation 2 came out, the PlayStation basically killed the Sega Saturn in the United States. PlayStation 2 came out, and it was, lifted by its reputation of being so great and cheap, relatively cheap at the time, and having a huge library of games, that when the PlayStation 2 came out, it just instantly killed the Dreamcast. Nobody was interested in the Dreamcast anymore. Sony had all the third-party developers. Sony had Crash Bandicoot, which was basically Sonic, So Sony killed Sega in a lot of ways. So Sega decided, we're not going to do hardware anymore. It's a losing game. We're just going to focus on our games, the things that make us Sega. And that's what they did. And, that's the thing about Sega focusing on games is that they're like so hit or miss.
So who now publishes the games? Like, is it kind of like a? Well, I mean, Sega, yeah, but for what systems? I'm out of touch now. Like the new Sonic games, are they available on any system now?
Pretty much. They're available. So they have a good relationship with Nintendo, which is funny because their history. But they publish on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, Nintendo.
Oh, don't talk. There's no PC talk in this podcast.
No PC talk. That's okay. All right. But they publish on everything. They do mobile games now too, and all that kind of stuff. They publish on everything. They're even on Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. They've got there's a whole new world of Sonic has opened up because of this open policy.
What else has Sega put out? I know this is the Sonic podcast, but now I'm trying to think of what else Sega is known for. They didn't do Resident Evil, right? No, I'm thinking of Capcom.
You're thinking of Capcom, but actually Resident Evil was developed for the Sega Saturn, then ported over to the PlayStation. So some people say the original Resident Evil was built for the Sega Saturn, and people can consider that the superior version of the game, even though the PlayStation was the most popular version of the game.
We had a Sega growing up, and I vaguely recall some of the games we would play. Definitely Sonic, but also they had a a video game of the Bram Stoker Dracula movie, and I recall playing that quite a bit, and that was fun. Except the game we had was broken, and once you beat a certain boss, you just couldn't proceed past that because the game would just kind of freeze, and it wouldn't let you move past that stage. So once you got to that, you just had to give up because you couldn't do anything about it.
Was this a late stage boss?
I don't know. Maybe that's the end of the game. I don't know.
No, because there's a thing about older games too, is they're real shitty, right?
Yeah.
And some of them were designed to just not be playable after a certain point. And now this is not something Sega would do. So even though it was on a Sega system, may have not been published by Sega.
Okay.
Might have been published by a third party.
You mentioned you didn't have a Sega, but you had some cousins who did. So I imagine they introduced you to Sonic the Hedgehog.
They introduced me to Sonic the Hedgehog, and it blew my mind. It really did.
Take us back in the time through the ages. You're a small boy. You go to your cousin's house. I assume they have a Sega. They say, "Hey, Andrew, look at this blue hedgehog." I mean, walk us through how you felt.
Well, that was probably my first sexual awakening. This blue hedgehog. No, I think so. First, before I go any further, what do you consider the best video game of all time?
The best.
The best.
I mean, honestly, Sonic might be up there, man. It's not my favorite, but I mean, best. I mean, it's really fun. It has pretty smooth mechanics, I think. It's nice and vibrant and fun to look at. I would not dispute claiming Sonic is one of the best games ever made.
Okay. Do you have one that comes to mind, though? That's your favorite game?
My favorite is Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Okay, that's my favorite game.
Okay. That's a very good game. So I would say that, most people, a lot of people of our age maybe, would probably consider Super Mario Brothers 3 the best video game of all time. And look, they're probably not wrong. It's a great game. Super Mario Brothers 3 is one of the best games ever made.
Let me ask a question about this. Is that the one where you can choose various different players? You can be Toad, you can be Princess, and so forth.
Super Mario Brothers 2.
Okay, what's 3?
3 is the one where you have the leaf turns you into like a raccoon type character.
Yes.
Turns you into like a frog.
Okay. Pretty good game.
I would say it's one of the best games, no doubt. The problem with Mario games is requires a lot of patience and a lot of being smart. Mm-hmm. Sonic was one of those games where you could fucking blast through the level without even thinking half the time. You're just going real fast. You're collecting your rings. You hit somebody, you lose some rings, you get them back. You can keep going through the level. You keep progressing. I think maybe the best game of all time of this genre of game is probably Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Okay.
You also have Tails, whose full name is he's Miles, quotations, Tails. Power, I think.
What's with these quotations? Are you
being sarcastic? That's how they list him. He's Miles, Tails with quotations, Power.
They can't decide on one speedy pun. They had to go with 2 of them.
Tails is the better name, and that's the name that stuck. It's what everyone knows colloquially, but his name is Miles. Everyone calls him Tails.
Well, I think I saw something a few minutes ago about Sonic's middle name being Maurice.
Is that true?
That's what I saw on some list that said odd Sonic facts you don't know about. Sonic Maurice the Hedgehog. I don't know.
Sonic Maurice?
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
I don't know. I mean, it's taken up with the big suits at DC.
Sonic's middle name is the. Everyone.
I wish my middle name was the. I do recall when I think about Sonic, the games don't stand out to me as separate entities, but I played a bunch of them, and I do recall playing as Tails because he was cool. You could fly with him. That was a new thing.
So Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I'm not sure that you could actually play as Tails, but Tails followed you around. Like he basically tailed Sonic the entire game. I've never played the game 2 players. I'm not sure if there is it. So, a more prominent Sonic scholar will correct me. But
so wait, when you would go over to these cousins' house, I assume just one house. I don't know. You guys won't playing co-op, just one at a time?
Takes a turn, baby.
All right.
You give it up.
That's the way I know. That's the way I know how to play any game. You die, you give it up. And that's how my life is going to be. When I die, someone else can operate. Someone else can do this book fest.
How many times have you died?
I mean, I don't know. I've died a lot. You keep bringing me back to life.
So, are you 13 years old?
I am 12.
Well, you got another good year in you, buddy.
Well, thank you.
How did I bring you back to life last time? I forgot.
You stuck a rebel hose into my penis and blew into it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You have my essence.
That was one of many times you've brought me back to life, though.
I brought you back to life a couple times.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're playing dead.
So Sonic.
No, let's not change it.
What are you saying?
Sometimes you were just playing dead.
I never play dead. It's not a game.
I'll pick my soundboard up real quick.
What?
Can you hear that?
No.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew has brought some type of DIY sound build to this recording. Well, he has created all of these Sonic noises, I think. But every time he tries to play one, there's no audio. I think he's trying to prank me.
I'm not. I'm pranking myself.
What was that supposed to be?
It was the sound of Sonic jumping.
Just, why don't you make the noises from that one? Okay. Have you ever met a hedgehog in real life? Do they live in Texas?
They're prickly. They're prickly fellows. They're not very fast, though.
Well, where did this speed come from in the game? Like, do you know much about the creation of this fella? Like, what can you tell myself and the audience about the creation of Sonic the Hedgehog?
So before Sonic, there was Sega's mascot character was Alex Kidd. Okay, now this is real.
Hold on, what?
Alex Kidd with 2 D's.
Who is this?
Just a kid named Alex.
Was he in a game?
Yeah, it was a game. Alex Kidd in this land, Alex Kidd in that land. So he was like their main character, their main thing. Very boring. Mario comes around. He's Italian, he's going around jumping, stomping on Goombas,
Yeah.
Mario, game changing. Literally game changing. Great platformer, loose story, save the princess, whatever. Sega of America tells Sega of Japan, we want to compete in America. We need to have a mascot that's not some kid named Alex. Okay. We need somebody blue and we need somebody fast. We got to go fast.
Makes sense, right? Because Mario, he has the jump. We need someone who runs.
Yeah, Mario jumps. He's Italian. And they said, we don't want to attach any ethnicity to our character. We want all peoples to connect with our character. The Italian angle, too much. It's too much baggage with the Italian stuff. The whole "it's a me, Mario" that doesn't work. That's considered racist in the United States. Nintendo Japan didn't understand that. So, but Sega of Japan thought, here, let's put an animal. Let's give him some real rocking, sexy legs.
And great teeth.
Great teeth. Let's make him go fast. And you know what Americans love more than rocking sexy legs and great teeth?
What's
They
that?
love money. They love money. So let's attach Sonic's health to how wealthy he is. Run through the rings. You have more rings, you get more bonuses. It worked out great. Blast processing. That's what Sega called it. Blast processing was nothing. It didn't mean anything, but it sounded cool. So they said Sonic only works with Sega Genesis because of blast processing. When you're a kid, all you hear is blast processing. Then, goddamn, that sounds good.
Yeah, of course.
Look at those fucking sexy legs on that hedgehog, having complex emotions and feelings. And I just want to fuck that hedgehog. And I don't want to fuck the Italian with a mustache who's a fucking plumber. There's no sexual attraction. Although the plumber thing, you know, it's a trope in pornography.
Was it then though? That's a great question. When did that become a trope in pornography? Did Mario kind of inspire that?
Well, I think Mario capitalized on the trope, you know,
Yeah.
but they didn't really know their audience very well. I think Mario capitalized on, I'm gonna clean your pipes, miss. You know, I'm gonna give me a meatball Subway sandwich.
I appreciate you leading straight into Bob Hoskins' voice.
Yeah, well, I mean, classic movie.
I love it. It's a
You know what's a better movie?
What's that?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Pretty good movie. I've only seen the first one. I have not seen the second one, but the first one pretty good. I took my stepson to the theater to watch it. I had a fun time.
And who's that no-name actor?
Jim Carrey?
Justin Marsden.
Who?
The guy who plays the cop, you know, who's like, you know, tagging along with the Sonic character.
I don't know. I'll look it up though.
Justin Marsden is his name.
If you say so.
Don't even bother.
Oh God. I tried typing Sonic the Hedgehog, but it autocorrected to the last thing I Googled, and that was Sonic the Hedgehog erotica.
No.
I was trying to find a good one we could read, but I quickly gave up. Whoever you said, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. The main hero, besides Sonic, of course, is Justin Marsden. It's pretty much a no-name actor. This Mario movie. You got Mario, you got Luigi, you got King Koopa. The movie is coming out. Packed it with stars. Chris Pratt. Couldn't do an Italian accent to save his life. Jack Black's in there. Just packed. Superstars. I can tell you one thing about that movie. The movie has no heart. It has no soul. Justin Marsden, no name, a nobody. Just a total doofus of an actor, right? Nobody cares who he is. Nobody cares. But he gave it his all to that role. He's a cop who wants to go to the bigger city, but he decides to stay back in bumfuck nowhere to chase after this blue hedgehog.
Have you seen the second movie?
I have not.
Oh.
I purchased the first movie though on I don't know, one of the rental services.
That's okay.
I bought it because I knew I was gonna be able to watch it in one go. And once you press play, you have 24 hours. I knew I didn't have that long, so I bought it. It was like $6.
It'd be fucking annoying to buy one of those, and it's like the longest movie ever made. It's like 25 hours long, impossible to finish. You have to buy it twice.
Well, I mean that's why you don't rent it. You gotta buy it. You just gotta buy it.
But I mean, it's a Sonic movie, so you watch it fast too. You have to kind of fast forward through it to get the complete effect. Two speeds, yeah. What else can you tell me about Sonic? Who's the villain? Dr. Robotnik? Is that his name?
Eggman in Japan, Dr. Robotnik in the States.
Okay, because I knew the name Eggman, but then I got confused. I didn't realize it was the same guy.
Same guy. Dr. Robotnik was made for the American audience, making a Russian the bad guy, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then Eggman, just more whimsical Japanese style. Although I do think in the games he became Eggman eventually.
Okay.
Yeah, like they basically said, fuck these separate lores, let's combine them. Eggman is Eggman. He's shaped like an egg.
Do you think it was intentional to make him look like a Theodore Roosevelt?
I think I'm sure because you're talking about the big smile and the big mustache.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was intentional, but I don't know. The Japanese, they have a great sense of history that we don't have for our own history.
I
Unlike
found
Italians.
I found I found a page I wanted to go through. I haven't looked at it yet. It's from the Radio Times, which I don't know what that means, but it's a bunch of Sonic facts. So I thought I would walk through those, and maybe you know some of these, maybe you don't.
Test
So,
me, test me.
did you know Sonic wasn't originally going to be a hedgehog? Do you know what he was going to be?
He was going to be hold on, I know this one. He was going to be a Italian mechanic.
He was going to be an Italian rabbit, actually.
Was he really?
Yeah, rabbit. They wanted him to grab stuff and fight with his long rabbit eels, but they thought the mechanics of doing that with the technology they had would be too complicated. So they compromised and made him this animal that could just ball up and roll around and use his whole body as a weapon. But evidently, there was some concern Americans would not know what a hedgehog was. To be honest, I don't know if I would know what a hedgehog was if Sonic did not exist.
I don't think I would know what a hedgehog was without Sonic.
Yeah, evidently it got to be the big fight was either Hedgehog or Armadillo. I'm really glad Hedgehog won.
Sonic the Armadillo. I mean, honestly, either way. They do have a bunny character now, though.
Okay, what can you tell me about this bunny?
Great legs. I'll tell you real quick. Hold on. It's Cream the rabbit. The name is Cream.
Cream?
The rabbit. You know what its original name was?
What's that?
Cum the rabbit. But they were too afraid Americans wouldn't know what cum was, so they decided to make it Cream.
I thought you were going to say ejaculate the rabbit. That would have also been a great name. Evidently, he wasn't originally called Sonic. Do you know what the original name was?
Yeah, it was Garibaldi.
It was not. It was a Mistral Needle Mouse because of his nose. It's like a needle.
That would have been a good name. Mr.
Yeah.
Needle and Mouse the Rabbit.
Yeah. Sonic had this whole backstory planned, but evidently they just cut it. I don't know why. He was going to be the frontman of a rock band, and other people in the band, it was going to be a parakeet, a monkey, a rabbit, and a crocodile. What the fuck? Also, at some point, Sonic was going to be romantically involved with a human woman rather than a female hedgehog, who was called Madonna.
Well, the human woman comes back. This is canon.
Tell me about it.
Sonic fucked a human woman.
Same.
In Sonic 2006. Now look up this. If you want to look up this game, Sonic 2006 came out for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the lowest rated games of all time.
But
they had a demo, open world-ish kind of thing, and he's trying to save this princess, much like Mario. But there's an on-screen kiss.
Wow.
And then they keep kissing. They keep kissing. And then Sonic unleashes the tongue.
Whoa.
Right?
Whoa.
This is real. And he starts feeling her up. And then it fades to black.
Any penetration?
Well, no, it fades to black. But the implication is there.
The implication of penetration.
Yeah, she was moaning pretty hard.
What did she say? Oh, God, I've been penetrated?
Ouch, that hurts. old needle dick.
Sonic was kind of inspired by Santa Claus, at least his shoes rule. You know about this? You know about that?
He was originally, the lore in Japan is he was born on Christmas Island.
Christmas Island, yes, due to some type of nuclear radiation.
Yeah. Well, I don't know the history of nuclear power and nuclear stuff with Japan, but Godzilla apparently was also a product of nuclear radiation.
Maybe the same one. Maybe they came from the same island. I don't know.
They exist in the same universe.
I wish I had any friends who knew anything about kaiju who could tell us about this, but
I can't think of a single person.
Neither can I.
It definitely doesn't wear any shoes inspired by Santa Claus.
Sonic was chosen to be blue specifically to match Sega's iconic color.
Their logo?
Yeah, because Sega's will blue, so they will like, we need a mascot who is blue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, memory and sound and smells, when you have that, when you smell like a candle, like warm vanilla sugar from Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah.
It takes you back someplace, takes you back to your childhood maybe. When I hear the sound, Sega, I immediately go to my grandma's house where the Sega Genesis my cousins owned was. Their dark wood paneled living room. I immediately go back there. It is when the first PlayStation starts up, they have that sound of like a classical orchestra starting up. That Sega is like heavenly to me. Did you know the sound?
Do it, fill me.
Sega.
Oh yes, just like that. I do know.
It's just like that. Hold on, let me pull a soundboard real quick.
I do find it troubling. You muted the video as you were talking about penetration.
Well, I'm naked right now.
That makes sense.
Here we go. Hold on. Listen to this. Wait a minute. No.
Nothing.
Hear that?
No. It's nothing.
I'm giving up on that.
I don't believe you have anything on this phone. I think this is a bit you've created just to be
it's probably going to be a great bit.
I think so.
Well, maybe find that sound and edit it in there. Sega.
Okay, I'll add it right now. Okay, it's been added.
Thank you.
Sonic began as an ale freshener. Yes, you read that right. The Hedgehog made his debut hanging from the rear-view mirror of a 1991 Rad Mobile arcade game. What the hell? That's from the Radio Times article about Sonic the Hedgehog facts.
I believe it. Cruising USA was the Nintendo racing game, but
Yeah. One of these facts is Sonic is pretty fast. That's not a fact you should include in a list surprising you.
The first Sonic game, he actually wasn't even that fucking fast. We all know Sonic as being faster in Sonic 2, which is the greatest game ever created. And that's when you could actually go super fast. You could press down and A, and you'd start spinning.
Yeah. Well, supposedly he's not even the one who's fast. It's the shoes he has, the like super shoes, and they make him go fast.
I think that's lost. That's been lost. But the truth is, I feel like Sonic was actually fast. You ever seen Space Jam?
I have.
You know how you gotta drink this stuff. It's gonna make you real good at basketball. And they believe in themselves. And they find out later it's just water. They were the ones who were actually good at basketball.
Wow.
Sonic has to lie to himself every morning by tying up his shoes and saying, "This is what makes me go fast."
Did you know the original game, this was a cut background exposition thing, where the reason why he's obsessed with going fast is his dad was tied to these train tracks by Eggman, and Sonic was basically running to save his dad, but he was too slow, and his dad got killed by the train. So like he spent the rest of his life going, "I'm gonna get faster, I'm gonna get faster, I won't let that happen again." And that's why he's obsessed with going fast, because his dad was killed by this train by the Eggman.
Sonic's dad, Sonic Senior, was
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
Sonic, you gotta go fast. You gotta go fast. He kept screaming that, Sonic, you gotta go fast. I've never said anything about this in your life, but you'll make me happy if you go fast. Sonic, you gotta go.
Bestial Sonic! And then he
Oh.
got split in half by a train.
Yeah, leftover cum for Sonic's better brother that never came.
The only thing that didn't get ruined by the train was his dad's red shoes, which he took off his feet and put on his own, and just began running until he got fast.
He cried. He cried as he put on his dad's shoes. So,
Um,
so sorry. I hope I can fill your shoes.
When they were making the game, the game make-olds, the game design-olds, they assumed wrongly that hedgehogs can't swim. So that's why Sonic dies whenever he goes into Waddle.
I have a soundboard clip for that, but I'll just do it myself.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, I haven't read this one yet, but the title is There is a Hidden Message in Sonic. And this is what the text says. We all love to look out for a hidden message, and lucky for us, there's one in the Sonic game. The message wasn't that controversial, but the way it was put in the game did ruffle some feathers. Naka rebelling against Sega, saying no to post-game credits, included a list of names of everybody responsible for creating Sonic, making sure they were printed on the screen, introducing the Sonic games. As the names were in black text, before a black background, they were invisible, so you could only see them using a cheat code.
That's it.
That's it.
No, John 3:16, for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son to die for its sins.
No, but there is a second hidden message that evidently this man in I think Brooklyn picked up on. Basically, Sonic was telling him to commit homicide throughout the streets of New York City, and they call him the Son of Sonic.
I like that. That's Sonic 06 right there, baby.
I think it's pretty cool. That's all I have, I guess. Everything else. Sonic. There's a few other facts, but I'm not going to read them because they don't seem interesting. Whenever I go to like a page that says like 15 surprising facts you didn't know about this thing, it's never anything actually surprising or interesting, and I'm left disappointed.
Well, the thing about Sonic is I think Sonic challenges the notion that there are even facts in art. I think Sonic is kind of an avatar for everything we want ourselves to be.
So on the Ghoulish Discord, I did post that we were going to be doing this episode, and I said I was talking to a Sonic Australian, so if they had any Sonic related questions, they could ask and you would address them. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask you some questions from the Discord. How old was Sonic when he lost his virginity?
Sonic was so hedgehog years, they age a lot more slowly than human beings.
Yeah.
It's gonna sound shocking to us as humans.
Yeah.
But I mean, he had sex at 3 years old.
It's not
that at that time, the balls have dropped completely. Erections were possible, and hedgehogs are expected to have sex and procreate. 3 years old in hedgehog years. It's about 13 in human years.
How old were you when you lost your virginity?
I've never had sex.
That's canon, folks. How could someone get Eggman's look? How could they look like Eggman if they wanted to?
It requires 3 eggs.
That's it?
Requires 3 eggs.
And then what?
Up the urethra by somebody you love.
Okay.
You can't share this experience with someone you can't. No sex worker is going to do this for you. No one night stand. You have to have someone you're deeply committed to. And it was deeply committed to you to be able to get a soft boiled egg and shove it up your urethra.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. No yolk. The yolk comes when you come.
Okay, good to know. What would you say is Sonic's favorite brand of frozen pizza?
Red Baron, 100%.
I don't think I've had that one.
Red Baron's pretty cheap. It's like $4.
What do you? What is what?
There's
would
also
you-
Totino's, but Totino's is way more Italian. It's just
What is your favorite frozen pizza brand?
I always get Red Baron.
Okay, I like Home Run.
I've never had Home Run.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
You know, have you had DiGiorno?
Yeah, it's
Have you
okay.
ever confused it for delivery?
All the time. I'm like, fuck, how much did I just pay on delivery for this? And then I have to remind myself, oh, wait, I didn't. I got it myself from the grocery store. So that's cool.
I spent 20 minutes next to my oven. I've never, I have a beef, I have a bone to pick with DiGiorno, folks. I've never, ever in my life mistaken DiGiorno for delivery.
You know, I made a joke a couple weeks ago because I'm rewatching Mad Men. I made a joke about Don Draper pitching that slogan. But I forget what I was doing the other day, but I discovered that slogan is pretty fucking old. I thought it was new, like within the last decade. Oh, I was watching a rerun of the dating game, and they had a commercial for that fucking show. That pizza company. They had the slogan on
But
it.
it's delivery, but delivery is like a newish, it's an 80s concept, right?
This was from 1955.
Yeah, but was it a replay? Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Probably in the 80s they recorded.
Yeah, that I didn't realize that at first. So I was like going around the house going, how fucking old is this slogan? Until I was reminded that the Game Show Network just often would replay old shows. And I was watching basically a bootleg ripped copy on YouTube from the Game Show Network. So who the fuck knows when that actually came on that channel? But for a brief spell, I was thinking that they were delivering pizza with this slogan, like back in the 50s.
What a beautiful person.
Thank you.
Not you.
Oh, fuck you too.
The person who sat watching the Game Show Network, decided to press record, right? And then later upload it to YouTube.
With the commercial still in it, which I do
The
appreciate.
commercials are the best part. They're the best part. It's the best cultural artifact we have.
I think so. I love watching the commercials for old shows.
Oh man, you gotta watch Jordache commercials. Look up Jordache commercials from the 90s. They are just
What are you saying to me?
Jordache.
Like the company we use now to get food sent to us?
No, not DoorDash. Jordache. Jordache.
I have no idea what that is.
Look it up, man. You'll be awakened sexually by these commercials.
I don't think I'm going to do that.
Well, you know, some people want to say it's
You know. I mean, okay. I mean, I probably will, but I don't know how to transition out of this now.
Light some candles, some warm vanilla sugar. Play the Sega theme song on loop.
Oh, wait. Breaking news. We have 2 new questions from the Discord. Someone wants to know, what is Sonic's fucking problem anyway? Whoa.
What do you mean, what's his problem? What do you have a problem with?
That's the question.
I want to, who asked the question?
Zach Ashfield.
What's his fucking problem? This guy's thinking about kangaroos all fucking day long. You got a problem with hedgehogs, obviously. He's got a problem with hedgehogs. He likes hoppers. He likes Mario. He likes people who jump on things. Big deal, dude. So what? Kangaroos. Get out of here.
Another question we have is, with Sonic's intense speed, meaning he probably has a really fast metabolism, how many chili dogs can he eat before getting sick?
Well, That's a good question. How many chili dogs can I eat before I get sick? I don't have a fast metabolism. Probably can have about 5 chili dogs before I can get sick. I would say Sonic can probably triple that to about 15.
Okay.
Now, I don't think Sonic getting sick is like a real thing. I don't think Sonic gets sick the same way humans get sick. I think he would be slowed down a little bit,
Yeah.
but not. So no, Sonic is not. Sonic is a godlike creature.
What, I haven't thought about this, but what is the plot of the Sonic games? I mean, I know the mechanics of the game, but what is the plot?
So Robotnik or Eggman, depending on who you want to subscribe, what culture you want to subscribe to, is Eggman is trying to take beautiful woodland creatures and turn them into robot slaves. And Sonic is trying to save these creatures. This was the 90s when the Earth was a big deal, when you wanted to save the rainforest and save the whales and all that kind of stuff. So you didn't like the idea of these animals being turned into robotic slaves. At the end of every level, you saw when you jump on top of or you plow right through an enemy, they turn into a woodland creature. At the end of each level, you jump on top of a cell, basically a prison, and all of the animals that you saved from being a robot come jumping out, hopping out, all happy. So the main gist of the game is to save the rainforest. And I know it sounds like I'm making it up, but that is, when I was a kid, that's how I understood it.
What's going on with these coins? What is he doing with these coins? And also, what currency is this? Is this US coins or what?
No, I think this is like a World Bank kind of metaphor. Gold is, ever since the United States got off the gold standard, there's been debate over whether or not fiat currency is real currency, et cetera, et cetera. I think this is just like a timeless kind of, hey, we need gold. Sonic has gold. Sonic's going to take the gold. He's going to put it in the U.S. Treasury. We're going to save the world because the United States is the hero.
And this Eggman, I mean, what is his ultimate dream? Because I mean, from some point of views, he might be considered the protagonist, right?
Well, he's an he's the antagonist in Sonic's view because Sonic is an animal,
Mm-hmm.
But Robotnik has an unquenchable thirst for knowledge, right? Robotnik wants to study these animals, learn everything, learn what makes them great, and he wants to weaponize them. Now, I think Robotnik started off from a noble place. He wanted to, he in some ways reveres nature, and he's trying to find a way to master over nature to save humanity. But the problem is he goes too far. And when I say he goes too far, is he's enslaving these animals to do his bidding, to become robots, basically, so that he can continue studying them. And these robots act as evil, unwilling pawns in his scheme. But Robotnik started off, this is my interpretation of the game. Robotnik started off as wanting to learn about these creatures, wanting to better the world, but he became too blinded by his own ambition. And so Sonic has to stop it.
Yeah. It's my understanding you're in the process of writing, I would think, a chat book called Dreamcast 2. Is that correct?
Right, yeah.
What can you tell me about the plot of this? Because I believe it kind of has to do with Sonic, right?
Yeah, so my Sonic character is a little obese. He kind of takes my body shape. And as I've gotten older and more tired, I realize I'm no longer as fast as I used to be. And it's Sonic coming to grips with his age. And Dreamcast 2 is one of those things where the message board culture of yesteryear that you and I think, idealize, romanticize, is gone forever. But I used to be on these message boards for video games, and there was always talk that Sega was going to come back. Sega was going to make a Dreamcast 2. They were going to come back and make a Dreamcast 2. It's never happened. So my idea was to create a chat book in which an aging Sonic stars in his own game that respects his age, respects his physical status as, in decline, and he's just coming to grips with he's no longer as fast as he used to be. He's no longer as useful. When they made the movie, they used his real body initially, and the whole internet exploded saying how ugly he was. So now there's a new Sonic, and so he's kind of coming to grips with being like a star of yesteryear, a star of the old times. He will always be that, but he is not currently that. Sonic is always Sonic as we remember him as being fast, but he will never, ever be that same Sonic again. So that is the point of a chat book. And so I'm going to, basically the overarching story is this Sonic character coming to grips with it. And he can't make as much money, he can't get the rings as fast. There's another hot shit Sonic stand-in that he thinks is a cheap knockoff of who he was in his prime, but also it'll harken back to some of the other great games that Sega put out, like Jet Set Radio or Crazy Taxi or the racing game whose name escapes me right now. But it's just kind of to me, it's nostalgia in a way, but also seeing nostalgia in the same way that you age.
Yeah.
You can't, as a writer, as an artist myself, I remember being so young and full of energy that I could just do all these things and write as much as I wanted, do all these things. But now I have responsibilities, I'm aging, I'm tired. And so, Sonic is a pretty good avatar for me to put that onto. And I know it sounds really lame, and it's going to be lame. It's going to be stupid. It's going to have the same dumb sense of humor that I have. But it is a good avatar. It is a good fanfic of sorts,
Sounds beautiful, man. I'm looking forward to reading this. I want to as soon as you finish it. But you also just released a brand new novel called Excrement Mountain, spelled without the vowels in place. And I want to know how that ties into Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, for similar reasons I just explained, Excrement Mountain, I think is my best work that I've ever done. And I know that when I describe the book, everyone just thinks I'm crazy, and it is an abrasive book. It is a weird book, but I'm very proud of it. And I'm super proud and super happy that you decided to publish it. Because, even though we're friends, you've rejected me before, and I knew that it was very possible you'd reject this book. So I'm very proud that you did accept it, because I respect your eye for art and writing. Everything you guys publish is great. So I feel like pride just being in this lineup of great books that you're publishing this year.
It's funny. You told me about the book before you submitted it, and it sounded like it would be funny and a fun time. But I completely expected to reject it. Yeah. Only because it didn't seem like it would fit the Ghoulish line. Yeah. But upon reading it, it definitely did, because while it is really comedic, still some pretty fucking awesome body horror stuff going on in this book that I just loved. And that, to me, along with some of the real disgusting scenes that give you greasy strangler vibes, it definitely fits the Ghoulish line. And I'm glad to be publishing it. It's an awesome book.
Well, thank you very much. And weirdly, for as bizarre as it sounds, it's a very personal book. And I think it's one of those things where I knew this going in. Either you're going to love it or you're going to hate it. There is no in between. I think you and I have already talked about this privately, but there really is no in between with this book. It's either for you or it's not for you, and that's perfectly fine. I'm willing to accept it. There's a culture within the writers and reviewers and stuff in which everyone's kind of like giving 5 stars to other friends, and it's obvious. And when the first 1-star review rolled in within the first 24 hours, I felt like, okay, I did actually write something that is good because somebody hated it so much, you know. Yeah, and there's a lot going on in it, and you could tell that someone quit within the first chapter because there are stereotypes culturally. One of the worst stereotypes is of Portuguese people, and I'm Portuguese, so I feel I'm at license to make those jokes. But if you read the whole book, you'd see those stereotypes were actually they were actually part of the story rather than just being stereotypes for cheap jokes.
Right.
So yeah, it's an abrasive book. If you get it, you get it. If you had the patience to read a 110-page book, you would have seen it anyways. But at the same time, I knew going in that first chapter was going to give everybody they needed to know whether they were going to be for the book or not.
You were posting the other day how your mother-in-law picked it up and was reading it. How did that go?
It was incredibly awkward. She asked me about it, and I was just trying to invite people to our book release party on March 28th at Radio Coffee and Beer, which your book is also coming out, Abnormal Statistics. And luckily, we have an ongoing show, Ghoulish show at radio, so it's kind of a perfect opportunity to capitalize on that.
Yeah.
So I was trying to get her to come out, fully not expecting her to read it and fully not expecting her to start reading it in front of me. But as she started reading it, I quickly grabbed a copy just to like remember what's in the first chapter. And I think there's a line within the first 2 pages, which is like, I just want to fart and fuck until poop comes out of my butt. And as soon as I read that, I was like, please, can you not read that in front of me?
Has she talked to you about the book at all since she
No, but she did ask me later, like, so when do you find the time to write this kind of stuff? I was like,
the implication being like, shouldn't you be watching my grandkids?
well, they're asleep at the time of writing it. I mean, this book was basically exclusively written after 2:00 in the morning. So this whole book was written between 2:00 and 5:00 in the morning, over a matter of a couple months. So yeah, they were well asleep.
But if so you had all these Sonic sounds planned that did not actually happen.
Right.
Do you have any Excrement Mountain sound builds planned that you would like to make noise of?
So imagine the sound of cum.
Okay, how does cum sound?
And then it weakens a little bit. You get like maybe 2 or 3 good squirts,
Yeah.
And then it kind of weakens like that. And then more of a dribble.
Yeah.
You can hear that?
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah.
Into the toilet as you're talking to teach. And then you flush.
I will let the audience know that Andrew randomly muted the video halfway through this, so he could be on the toilet coming. I do not know.
Hey, so that video we attempted many times, this last one-page salon at radio?
Yeah, I'm waiting on the last bit.
So what I'm thinking now is I'm too embarrassed to have somebody film me. That's not you. So what I'm thinking is maybe you just have what we recorded and it just abruptly ends. And that's the book trailer for Excrement Mountain.
So you will too embarrassed to ask your wife to film you on the toilet, but I can film you?
I figure my wife has more important things to do than film me on the toilet.
I don't know. I mean, so you wouldn't know this, but Nina and I, your wife, we have really similar taste in movies and entertainment. And I think this might be right up her alley.
Well, I'll ask her. I'll ask her. I will.
You can always ask your mother-in-law. She might be interested in filming you on the toilet breathing.
Andrew, we need the time to write these things. these things. I want to fart and fuck until poop comes out of my butthole.
That's one of the most romantic things I've ever held in my life. I hope you make us say that when you officiate my wedding.
Yeah, I'm actually like worried about your wedding a little bit. Like,
Well, let's talk it out on the podcast. So, for those who don't know, the Ghoulish Book Fest is coming up next month, April 15th, 15th, and 16th. On April 15th, I am getting married to my partner, Lily Michelle, and Andrew is officiating it.
yeah. So the only thing I have so far is I'm going to have 3 hard-boiled eggs.
Okay. So I would just suggest to not make too many cum jokes because I do know some children will be attending this
I
wedding.
won't make any cum jokes.
That's okay too, I guess. I mean, it's up to you, but yeah.
I just feel like I'm going to sully your good day. But what I think is so my marriage to Nina, the ceremony, our ceremony was very short. They read a little piece of something, and then we said our vows, I guess, and then I do. It was great. We started partying.
Yeah.
And for you, I feel pressure to be spooky.
Oh yeah, the pressure is definitely not imagined. This is a spooky wedding.
Yeah. So I'm still thinking about it, but
Okay. You could do it as, I mean, I know you have a cape. You had suggested doing it as Dracula. That would be fine.
That would be fun, yeah.
Do you have any fangs?
I don't have fangs, but I will get fangs. I will spend the 75 cents it takes to get fangs to make your wedding magical.
Let me ask you something, because I haven't thought much about this wedding because I've been busy with other things. Should I be writing vows? Is that a thing people still do outside of in movies?
Well, I don't even think Nina and I read our vows at our wedding.
Okay.
But, maybe. If you guys want to read your vows, you can.
What do you do if you don't read them? You just like tuck them into a time capsule? And
I say, hey, everybody, take this moment, imagine what Max is saying to Lori. Imagine what Lori is saying to Max.
Okay. How long should they be? Should I treat it like I'm doing a performance on stage?
Write a haiku.
A haiku.
That's probably the best.
Okay. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. I haven't thought about vows at all because I don't like making promises. I don't.
A wedding is a promise. You're promising.
That's enough promising, right? You have to do additional promising. That's a lot to keep track of.
You and Lori have a lot of things going together. You guys have been through a lot together, I'm sure. So a wedding is basically like just telling the world, hey, we're going to continue going through things. They're not all going to be good. They're not all going to be great. But overall, it's going to be a beautiful thing. And we just want to tell the world it's going to be beautiful and it's going to be spooky.
But that's the thing. The moment things are not great, I'm leaving. So,
how many not great things have you had?
My life is pretty great.
Have you had trials?
No.
Well, a wedding is committing to some trials.
All right.
Like, hey, I just murdered this person. What do we do?
Yeah, and she can't testify against me, right? Because it's the law. Yeah.
And Lori grabs a shovel.
She can't testify against me because she's the one I killed.
Jesus Christ.
Well, that's where that joke would go if we had set it up. I don't know. We just today went and had a meeting with the wedding cake lady who's making the cake, and it's going to be a spooky cake. We haven't thought about rings yet, even though this is like a month away. She has a dress. I don't know what I'm going to have on. Any suggestions? Be on like a Sonic the Hedgehog outfit.
Okay, so look, man. You and I have been in Texas for about around the same period amount of time, right?
Yeah.
time to embrace it. Get a bolo tie with a skull or a werewolf at the base, at the top of it, the neck.
Yeah.
Get a bolo tie. Do a bolo tie.
Okay. I'll look into this.
And then just naked from the shoulders down.
Now, am I putting the tie on my neck or like my penis?
What I would suggest is having a tie that goes all the way down to your penis, and then you just wrap a nice bow around it.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll accentuate the eggs.
Now, I don't think you know this, but today I asked Miguel to be my best man because I didn't realize I needed to ask somebody. Didn't even occur to me. And since you were doing the official stuff, Miguel seemed like a lot. Huh?
Can I say fuck that? How about Miguel weds you and I'm your best man?
It's too late. Because Miguel is really excited to do this. He's asked me what I need him to do. And my answer was, I don't know. I think you just stand behind me the whole time. But is there any task I should be giving Miguel in the meantime?
Well, Miguel's got to give a good toast to you first.
Oh, boy.
He's got to give a good toast.
I like Texas toast, to be honest.
You can toast with Texas toast.
Yeah.
But you should have your favorite drink on hand, for sure. Which will probably be still Austin bourbon, I'm sure, right? At this point.
It might be an extremely bad man.
Extremely bad man.
I've been thinking about that drink since last month.
It's a great drink.
Yeah.
Kudos to the head bartender.
At Radio Coffee.
That is a great drink. But yeah, toast. And, usually best men plan the bachelor party.
That's my next question. Should I have one of those? If so, when?
I didn't really have a bachelor party. So how it happened was we went out to bars in Austin because nobody in my family lives in Austin. But we went out to some bars like the night before the wedding, and me and Nina ended up at the same fucking bar. Like that's how alike we are in taste.
Yeah.
But yeah, going out drinking or not drinking, whatever you float your boat, going out and doing something you like to do with your best man and your officiant.
Here's the thing though about this. The night before the wedding is gonna be Friday, which is a day I'm running a book convention. So what do you suggest? Should I just get drunk that day?
So Friday, is Friday the night of the campfire stories?
No. So what we have in mind is on Saturday about 8-ish, we will do the wedding. And then we will allow some time for everybody to have cake and wine. And then at 10 o'clock is the spooky campfire contest.
Okay. I think Friday night, we should arrange drinks. Okay. If that's even at the convention, where the convention is, because they had a pretty cool bar in there. That'd be a great place to do it. Okay. And that'd be a good place for everybody that's there. And, Miguel will probably toast you there. Okay. And then toast you after your wedding.
All right.
Hope Miguel's listening.
I doubt it. I don't think he listens to his podcast.
Miguel listens to podcasts.
Should I give Zach a task? Like, what else? I mean, who else? I don't know any people. I don't have many friends. I have you, Miguel, and Zach.
Listen, Max. You know me. You know Miguel.
Yeah.
You know Zach. And that's, I think we're a pretty tight group of people.
Yeah.
So, and you're going to have people that love you there, that love you for the art you create and stuff. And they'll be fun to have around too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good night no matter what happens.
I guess I mainly like the idea of giving people tasks that I don't actually need done. Is what I'm getting at here.
Well, think about the worst task you can think of for you.
Running a book fest.
Clipping your toenails?
Yes.
Yeah. Those kind of, running a book fest, clipping your toenails, those kind of things you can slough off on your least favorite friend.
Okay.
You don't have to tell me who it is. You don't have to tell me who it is.
Yeah.
But you can just slough it off on them and have a good time that one night. And after that, you're back to Max, the publisher, festival coordinator, writer, extraordinaire.
All right.
But that one night, slough off some bad tasks.
You have some pretty unique website names. What are some of the best website names you own?
5GKilledGod.com is my main website. I own PokeFight.com.
Yeah.
I own well, I used to own Trump Erection because I thought that was going to be something that got bought up. It did not get bought up.
Okay.
At the time, Trump was buying up all the names of websites. I got Trump Erection, and that did not get bought up. So I don't own that.
Okay. And they all lead to the same site, right?
What?
They all lead to the same website.
Pretty much. I used to own hummusballgag.com, which I thought was a pretty good name. Pretty good product, too. Never took off.
Yeah.
Then I had Sriracha Ball Gag. Didn't really take off.
I'm noticing a theme.
Yeah, it's vaguely sexual, vaguely gross.
Someone who's never had sex. This is surprising.
Well, I mean, someone who's never had sex is the most depraved person of us all.
I don't know if that's true.
No, someone who's had sex knows that sex isn't about, I don't know.
Let's end this now. But I want you to end this with your favorite Sonic the Hedgehog quote, if you could please. The most inspirational, motivational quote from Sonic the Hedgehog. Please go on.
Of course, I've said it about 15 times during this podcast. Got to go fast. There's no use in thinking about some things. You just got to do it. You have to go fast.
And did you have one last noise you wanted to play out?
Yeah. The drowning sound.
Thank you for listening to my Sonic episode with Andrew. Go buy his books at 5GKilledGod.com. Go buy my new book, The Last Haunt. Get a signed copy at Ghoulish.lip. Leave a review of the podcast on iTunes. And go out and do a spooky deed to someone unsuspecting.
Live spooky, die spooky.
Rest in peace, Max.